Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started.
Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu are trying to re-establish the new Bloodline's position on SmackDown. As United States Champion, it seems as though the Samoan werewolf has taken over the helm from Sikoa. However, could the latter be working against Fatu along with a 7-time WWE Champion? The answer to this question is quite possibly yes, especially when considering that the former 3-time World Champion, in addition to runs with the Intercontinental title, NXT Championship, and tag titles, in question is Drew McIntyre. Now, the Scottish Warrior isn't the biggest fan of the Bloodline, but, recently, it seems like he might be colluding with Solo Sikoa. It all started last week when Solo Sikoa's timely interference nearly handed Drew McIntyre the win. Unfortunately, Damian Priest got in the way, leading to a disqualification. This week, once again, there was a hint suggesting that the two might be working together. Fans may have noticed that during a segment backstage, Sikoa was insisting that only McIntyre should be given a shot at Fatu's US title. This is rather suspicious, and could suggest that come Backlash 2025, the Street Champion will do everything in his power to help the 39-year-old win. Of course, at the end of the day, this is nothing more than speculation. There is no telling if Sikoa is working with McIntyre, let alone if he plans on betraying Fatu. Nick Aldis has called out Solo Sikoa for trying to screw Jacob Fatu. As mentioned earlier, Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu had a segment backstage alongside SmackDown GM Nick Aldis. During the segment, Aldis made the fatal four-way bout for the United States Championship official. It was a huge announcement that somewhat bothered Fatu, but in the end, his response suggested he was ready for anything that was going to be thrown at him. However, more than the Samoan werewolf, Sikoa was unhappy. He claimed that Nick Aldis was trying to screw Fatu, but this is where Aldis corrected him. He simply put Sikoa in his face by suggesting that it was actually he who was trying to screw his cousin. This left Sikoa shocked and led to the WWE Universe gasping over the accusation. All signs point to Sikoa eventually betraying Fatu. The next few weeks will certainly be interesting, and all eyes will be on Backlash 2025, where fans could potentially witness said betrayal. The cracks in the Bloodline have never been deeper. And now, as the WWE Universe watches Jacob Fatu tear through the SmackDown roster with unrelenting rage, whispers have begun to circulate. Could Solo Sikoa be orchestrating a quiet rebellion from within? More shockingly, could he be aligning himself with the legendary 7-time WWE Champion to dismantle the monster he once welcomed as family? The tension in the Bloodline has escalated since Roman Reigns' disappearance after losing the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Solo Sikoa, having declared himself the new tribal chief, seemed to strengthen his position by recruiting the unpredictable and dominant Jacob Fatu. Yet, Fatu's explosive debut and immediate destruction of top stars raised eyebrows, not just among fans, but within the Bloodline itself. Sources close to the situation have started whispering about Solo's uneasiness. While Jacob's in-ring dominance was meant to protect the Bloodline's legacy, his actions have increasingly drawn too much heat. His unsanctioned attacks, such as the recent brutal assault on Kevin Owens backstage and the destruction of LA Knight during a commercial break, have caught the attention of WWE officials, and perhaps even Solo himself. But what if Solo never intended for Jacob to dominate forever? According to internal sources, Solo Sikoa has been seen in private discussions with a 7-time WWE champion, none other than Randy Orton. The Viper, who's been largely silent since narrowly avoiding injury during a backstage altercation with Fatu a few weeks ago, has long had issues with the Bloodline. But some believe Orton's interest in the group isn't just about revenge, it's strategy. One theory being floated backstage is that Orton, a master manipulator and one of WWE's most calculated predators, sees Jacob Fatu as the perfect weapon, but also a threat. Orton and Solo may be planning a long game. With Solo pretending to support Fatu on-screen, and Orton attacking from the shadows, the two could be working in unison to control, and ultimately destroy, the beast they unleashed. It's worth revisiting Randy Orton's storied history with stables. As the leader of Legacy and a central figure in Evolution, Orton knows the power of alliances, and the betrayal that can fracture them. Pair that with Solo's silent, brooding demeanor and growing frustrations with Jacob's uncontrollable violence, and suddenly a secret alliance doesn't seem so far-fetched. One WWE producer, speaking under condition of anonymity, noted, Solo Sikoa is not a fool. He knows that if Jacob Fatu gets too much power, he might be the one sidelined next. He needs a countermeasure, and Randy Orton is the perfect one. The seeds of this theory were first planted when, during a recent SmackDown, Solo hesitated before joining in on a post-match beatdown initiated by Jacob. The camera caught him watching coldly as Fatu demolished AJ Styles, and when the show went off-air, Solo left the ring alone, without saying a word to his cousin. Insiders also point to subtle moments, like Orton's promo 2 weeks ago. Without naming names, Orton warned that some monsters need a bigger snake to strike them down. At the time, many assumed he was talking about the bloodline as a whole. But in retrospect, it might have been aimed squarely at Fatu. There's also the question of why Randy Orton would help Solo. Simple, revenge and redemption. Orton hasn't forgotten being taken out by the bloodline in 2022. And if he can take down one of its most fearsome new members, all while partnering with the very man trying to rebuild the group and his image, it would cement his legacy further. Plus, Randy thrives on the unpredictable, aligning with Solo gives him exactly that edge. As for Solo, this could be the ultimate power play. He's shown signs of being more cunning than previously thought. He didn't just take over the bloodline, he did so with ruthless calculation, eliminating dissenters like Jimmy Uso and publicly humiliating Paul Heyman. But Fatu? He's a different challenge entirely. He's not just a soldier, he's a loose cannon. If Fatu goes off script, he could destroy everything Solo's tried to rebuild. So what happens next? WWE may already be teasing the next phase of this covert war. Randy Orton is scheduled to appear next week on SmackDown during a segment featuring the Bloodline. Officially, it's being billed as a confrontation, but what if it's a setup? What if Solo brings Orton out not to fight, but to strike a secret bargain publicly, showing Jacob that there's a new alpha in the room? Fans have also noted that in recent promotional graphics, Solo and Fatu have been deliberately placed on opposite ends, subtle visual storytelling that WWE is known for when setting up major feuds. Additionally, leaked internal merchandise mock-ups for Snake and Spike, a nickname combining Orton's Viper identity and Solo's Samoan Spike, have surfaced online, though WWE has not confirmed their legitimacy. There's also the matter of the Bloodline civil war potentially escalating into war games. With Orton and Solo on one side, and Jacob Fatu rallying backup, maybe even bringing in a returning Roman Reigns, the storyline could climax in one of WWE's most chaotic matches ever. Imagine the spectacle of Solo and Orton standing back-to-back inside the cage, facing down Fatu and his reinforcements. Whether the alliance is confirmed next week or continues brewing behind the scenes, one thing is clear, the Bloodline saga is far from over, and Solo Sikoa might not be as loyal to his own creation as he wants the world to believe. With Randy Orton possibly lurking in the shadows, the Bloodline's future could take a venomous turn, one where betrayal isn't just expected, but weaponized. Do you think Solo Sikoa is planning to stab Jacob Fatu in the back? Will Randy Orton be the key to the Bloodline's next great implosion? One thing's certain, WWE's island of relevancy is about to erupt.